What's going on, people of YouTube? So I get a lot of questions, but one question I probably get the most is it okay to get tattooed while suffering from chronic illness? And while I am not a doctor, I do have years and years of experience, not only in the tattoo industry, but on the other side, getting tattooed with chronic illness. And so the short answer is maybe. It all depends. It all depends on your condition. It all depends on the medications you're on. It all depends on your current state of health. There are a lot of variables involved in whether or not it is okay for you to get tattooed. And even if it is okay, is it safe and is it worth it? So I wanted to go through a couple of things that you might want to consider when getting tattooed while suffering from a chronic illness. For me, I have postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome, I have mast cell activation, I have intracranial hypertension, I have high blood pressure as a result of my POTS. I could have low blood pressure, and I'm currently on prednisone. I've been taking prednisone since January 2018. We are in August 2018, and I started at 80 milligrams. So I've been on a pretty high dose of steroids. And with that comes a huge load of side effects. One of those side effects, paper skin. And so I definitely have to be more cautious about getting tattooed now because I bruise very easily. I don't know if you guys can see, here's a fresh tattoo and you can see all the bruising from a very small tattoo. You see that little cabin right there? Just that little bit of tattooing, maybe 45 minutes worth of tattooing caused that bruising. Something I never would have really experienced before, but I've noticed now all of a sudden I'm bruising easier. So first things first, talk to your doctor. Especially if you have a good doctor and you guys have a good rapport, talk to him. Let him know I want to get tattooed and see if he thinks it's a good idea or not. He might not know. He might give you some information that surprises you, or he might try to walk you through the process, maybe even give you some medication that'll make things easier for you and allow you to get tattooed. And doctor's word isn't gospel either, but they are professionals, and especially if you have a good doctor, you probably want to listen to them. So talk to your doctors, guys. You can watch a million YouTube videos. You can talk to a million different people about their own particular experiences, but at the end of the day, your doctor is going to know more, or hopefully know more about you than anybody else could. The second thing is take into consideration the risks versus rewards. So for me, I used to get tattooed for hours and hours on end, no problem. I would sit and almost fall asleep, and I have fallen asleep a couple times while getting tattooed on my legs. No joke. And now I can't sit for more than an hour or 2 hours, not because I get restless, but because it wipes me out so much. I get so tired, so exhausted and fatigued and achy, and not even while I'm getting tattooed, but the days following after I get tattooed, I will just be ruined. I will be devastated, pretty much more bedridden than I already am, and I'll be useless to the world. And I'm already in so much pain. My quality of life is already so low that lowering it even more is just not even worth it. Even if, it's a nice big tattoo and I have an opportunity to get it all done at once, even if I could sit through it all, I would suffer the consequences of that for probably a week. And that's something that I've had to learn through experience. When I first got sick, after about the first 2 years, I took a break from getting tattooed and I started getting tattooed again, thinking I could just jump back in the saddle. And I was horribly wrong. I mean, I don't think I could walk for like a day or two after I got tattooed because of my autonomic dysfunction my blood was pooling and my circulation wasn't regulating correctly, and it just really messed me up. So please take into consideration your own particular health risks, your own illness, and the medication that you're on. Medication, especially blood thinners, can cause issues when getting tattooed. That's why most tattoo artists will ask you, have you been drinking a lot of alcohol in the last 24 hours? Have you taken any aspirin or any other blood thinners? These are all things that you need to be conscious of when getting a tattoo. Another thing to take into consideration is your dietary habits. If you're someone who doesn't eat a lot because of their illness, whether it's Crohn's disease or some other illness that limits your ability to eat, make sure that you have some kind of meal plan set up for before and after you get tattooed, because although tattoos do release a lot of different endorphins, they also use up a lot of your natural resources, causing your body to require some kind of replenishment. So always try to get some sugar and protein and stay well hydrated before and after you get tattooed. So the fourth thing, make sure you have a friend or family member that can look after you after you get tattooed. Like I said, for me, it completely wiped me out. I felt like I had the flu after I got tattooed again, after being sick for so long. And I needed my wife to basically take care of me and tend to me because I couldn't really walk around and do much. I needed help to the shower, the bathroom. I needed help preparing my meals. And that's something that you need to take into consideration. You can't really know until you go through it. So it's always better to be safe than sorry. Make sure that you have some kind of support system in place in case you need it. It's better to have it and not need it than to not have it and need it. So the fifth thing, if you are able to work, make sure you get tattooed on a Friday or a day that is going to give you some room to rest. So you don't have to worry about going into work or school for that matter and feeling horrible, having this huge sore spot on your body, feeling achy, feeling sick, feeling nauseated. Nobody wants to do that. And if you're already suffering from some kind of illness, you really don't want to pile that stuff on. Another thing, don't be in a rush. Be patient. There's this old saying that good things come to those who wait, and patience is a virtue. Those things are true. Hopefully, you're not going anywhere anytime soon, and so don't be afraid to stretch out a tattoo. I've had some smaller tattoos. I'm talking about, 3 inches by 3 inches that I've taken 3 or 4 sessions to finish just because that's what I'm comfortable doing now. I can't take much more than that. I know my body well enough, and I know that if I keep tattooing to a minimum, it'll be an enjoyable experience and I won't be hating life the next couple days afterwards. So don't be impatient. Another thing is always talk to your artist. You don't have to be best friends, but try to establish some kind of rapport and at least a basic relationship with your artist. They're putting something on your body for the rest of your life, and honestly, your tattoo will outlive you. So make sure that your tattoo artist is aware of your health conditions. You don't have to divulge everything and tell them your life story, but let them know about your concerns, let them know what to expect in the event that something does happen, and try to formulate some kind of plan to make sure that you guys are doing something that's going to be safe and relatively pain-free. I recommend for anybody that hasn't been tattooed before yet to start off with something small. Even if you have, let's say, a sleeve planned out or this huge back piece, start off with just a little bit of that piece to see how you deal with it. sitting down and planning on committing to something huge and then having to tap an hour into it is just not only going to ruin your experience, but it's also going to look ridiculous for the remainder of the time that you have that. You know, if you're planning on, let's say, getting a giant eagle tattooed on your chest, and he starts on the face and then you tap out, you're going to have half an eagle poking out of your shirt. Or when you get to the beach, it's going to look like, you know, bird pooped on you or something. And it's just not going to look good. So plan ahead. You know, start off small, and then as you get used to it, you can adjust accordingly. So in summary, you guys, you definitely can get tattooed with chronic illness, and it doesn't have to be a terrible, horrible experience, and it shouldn't be. Tattooing is something that I love. It's been a huge part of my life as an artist, as a tattooer, as a body modification practitioner. You know, tattooing is something that I've lived and breathed, and it's something that I love. And at a time where I felt like chronic illness was just taking everything away from me, tattooing was something that I really wanted to hold on to, and I've kind of made little kinks and adjustments to make sure that it's something that I can still enjoy within reason. Like I said, I can't sit for 6, 7, 8 hours. I can't even sit for 2 or 3 hours anymore. But I can sit for a decent enough amount of time to where it's not too overwhelming and it's an enjoyable experience. I really hope that these tips help somebody out. I know I wish I would have found a video like this when I first got sick, and I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, please feel free to hit that like button, and if you're new to the channel, subscribe.